Well, welcome back. This is Janelle. I'm Janelle, and this is Kelsey. And we are starting our third video regarding our third session of the TASTE, Journey to Freedom Teen, the TASTE series. So again, just to reiterate, Journey to Freedom is an 8-week group that you're going to offer at the end of this TASTE series. So this is the last one. And we're hoping that this just gives kids a chance to get an idea of what they might experience in a Journey to Freedom group. So this third session is just emphasizing that we are not alone, that the kids, the students, as well as adults, we're not alone in what we experience in life. And so we want to bring that to the table and help them to just see that they truly are not alone in their struggles and in their joys, and that they're valued people and heard people, and that we're in this together as a community. It's an interesting word, but Scott Reel, the author of Journey to Freedom, uses it. It's called universality, and it basically means exactly what I just said, that you're not alone. So that's the point of this time. So again, from the larger platform, late night or other place that you're introducing this TASTE to the students, we ask that during the family time that you basically bring out this concept, but before you even get to the large group, we're asking you to pass these out when people come to late night or to the program that you have, and have them fill it out. It's anonymous, there's no name or anything on it. So we're just collecting information about people's experience. So there's things on here, it says, what have you experienced or felt? It's just a basic question, and then they can just mark as many or none of these that apply to them, and there's a place for other. So having this filled out as they walk in, and then just put somewhere where people know that they're not being read by someone immediately. So whether it's putting it into a folder or into a bin or whatever, that someone's watching that, just so that they feel safe actually even disclosing this much. So then after that is done,
if you don't have these, they're on YSpace. Same with the series.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So the first video talks about it, but they're on YSpace under Mission Team, and then shared documents, and then teen. There's a teen file.
Journey to Freedom Teen.
Yes.
Teens.
So those are in there if you need to print out more.
Great, thank you, Kelsey. And you should have this third series worksheet explaining what I'm talking about in front of you as well. So once these are filled out, someone collects them, right? And then someone needs to tally them up while they're doing other activities, so that when you get to the family time or the assembly time, that you have some statistics about your specific group that just gathered here tonight. We encourage you as staff to also be part of that and fill one out yourself. So you can say, hey, 30 of us experience anxiety. Let's see, 30% of us, feel overwhelmed today, or there's a lot of joy in this room. Lots of people, 80% of you said that you're experiencing joy or have experienced joy. It's basically a reflection back to the group itself, and it's amazing, because you're like, really, 25% of the people would say they're depressed, or have dealt with that in their life. God, I felt like I was I only know one other person that's even ever talked about it, or whatever. And then they realize that the commonality inside the room. So that's the point, is to tally it up, and then it says that there are some different ways to bring out the statistic. If you have access to demographics, either in our area or just teenagers in general across America, we're going to try to get some of those for you, but it's also great to realize that this isn't just this group, that students, teenagers experience X, Y, or Z, across the nation. So bringing out statistics helps people realize that they're not alone, and that's the whole point of this time together. So make sure you do this before and have the statistics ready, and then once you get up to the front, again, make sure you announce what Journey to Freedom is. If you want another testimony, you can do that. Remind them that there's actual groups starting. Make sure you have your sign-up sheets and all that. tell them that they're going to get into small groups and that there's ground rules and that we want this to be a safe place of conversation, and all the stuff we talked about the first and second taste. So I think that's about it. And Kelsey's going to tell us what we're actually going to do in the small groups once they're formed after the person has spoken from the front. All right?
Totally. And just a reminder, this also is extremely confidential. So if you maybe have 10 students there, and you don't want people to be able to tell by the numbers that you announce from the front.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Susie. Oh, that's Tim. So if you have a smaller group, or if something comes up where you feel like it'll be clear who the person is, or a couple people, make sure to use broad statistics, percentages from your group, or you could say percentages from the community. So again, you'll be announcing that from the front, and then breaking in for these groups.
Great.
So the beginning, just go around and have everyone, this is in your small group, the facilitator will be leading this in this part. Have everyone just introduce themselves by name, have the ground rules out, go over them real quickly for anyone who's new, have the ground rules in the middle, remind everyone that they're not required to share and anything like that. Then you'll also remind them about the name thing that we'll be doing. So just a reminder, before you start sharing, you would say your name. So, hi, I'm Kelsey.
Hi, Kelsey.
Everyone says hello. When I'm done sharing, they all say thank you to whoever shared. So remember to model that now that we've had that tool, and you'll use that for any time somebody's sharing. And then you'll go into these questions. So as you can see here, gentle disclosure is the word that we're using. It's a During Their Freedom term too, is that you kind of want to ease into the questions from maybe like kind of surface level to getting deeper. And in Journey to Freedom Teen, the curriculum, that's what they'll be doing within the curriculum as well. It's kind of easing people into this. So first question that you'll ask in the group is, what was it like to fill out the brief or fill out the touch card here? And then you'll ask, what are some things that keep people from sharing with others about their experiences or feelings? Last question is, ask anyone if they'd like to share about a time when they told somebody something that they were keeping secret and what happened. So facilitator note, again, is that be ready to be the first person to talk if no one's willing to talk. So take a moment, maybe after this video, to think about what are my answers to these questions, so you can be ready. And then also remember that you're enforcing the ground rules. So if someone starts sharing about someone within the group, or maybe something that they're not speaking from themselves, or they're trying to correct somebody, or even if someone tells a hard story and about a time when someone broke their trust, we still don't want people to say, oh, that happened to me too, don't worry about it. Just let the person share, and then when they're done, everyone can say thank you, and we're not fixing or giving them advice or anything like that. So really this time we'll mostly just be doing those questions, and you'll be facilitating it. Also for me personally, I can say that, and hopefully you can have a story like this to share in the group if it makes sense, that when I was going through my hardest moment, it was probably about 6 years ago, I thought I was the only one going through this certain thing, and then finding out that there were many other people going through this changed my perspective. It really changed going through that. I didn't feel as alone, and I didn't feel like I couldn't handle it. It just helped me. So if that makes sense for that question 3, if the teens aren't saying anything, then make sure that you have a story or someone else's story, if you have their permission to share it. That's important.
I just wanted to tell you a story. I have a 20-year-old son, and he was in high school a couple of years ago, and one day he came home from high school, and he didn't seem like himself, and I said, hey, what's going on? And he said, it just was an odd day. And I said, well, what happened? Do you care to tell me? And he proceeded to tell me that one of his classmates had committed suicide. And it was really heavy on his mind. And I said, well, what do you know about this kid? And it was a guy from Emerald Ridge. And I tell you this story, and we don't need to go through verbatim what he said, but what was interesting is how my son was so struggling with the fact that a classmate of his, that he had rubbed elbows with, and he actually had a class with him. So he knew the kid. It wasn't like his best friend or even like he has ever done anything with this guy, but he found it so strange to be so close to someone that was suffering so much, and that he didn't know anything about that. And he also didn't really know how anyone would discover that kind of thing, or how many kids really don't have anyone to talk to about how they're really doing. And so I just want to tell you that this is really powerful to create this kind of space. So this is all an experiment at this point, and maybe when you watch this, maybe we've done it 3 or 4 times. I don't know where this is going, but I do know that we need to try, and that we need to create some safe space for kids. Kids that are dealing with hard stuff, or kids that are trying to figure out how to help other kids that are dealing with hard stuff. Like, we need to create that kind of muscle in our society to just really be more available to each other, and sort of give that skill even to the other students as facilitators of these kind of conversations. Is just so essential to their life and to the health of our teenagers. So thanks for investing.
Totally. And as Janelle just shared, this is such an important thing. So as you're wrapping up your group, just remember to encourage the students to be a part of a group if they'd like to. You'll have the information hopefully there with you on when your next group is, and kind of wrap up that way by giving them the opportunity to join a group instead of just leaving it open-ended. So encourage them, and because it's such an important thing for all of us. So.
And one other note, some of you might be wondering what happens if kids start disclosing a lot of things. Mm-hmm. The taste really is to give them an idea of how the group functions, but you never know. They might start talking about things even though we're not really asking real direct questions that way. My suggestion is, if there's obviously something that you don't know what to do with, or that you can sense that the group doesn't know what to do with, do what your gut says, pay attention to them, affirm, encourage, and then follow up with individuals after their time. Don't allow that person to take over everything that's being talked about, but be sensitive and make sure that the group is okay, and then make sure that person's okay after group. And so there again, if there's even too much for you to handle when you're one-on-one with someone, talk to your team director, talk to their boss, make sure that you connect with the mission director. Kelsey and I are available. We do have resources in the community, and we definitely together will know what to do. So don't be afraid of that. It's what stuff needs to come out. So thanks for being there.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Bye.